Hey YouTube, another video here. This video I want to actually jump into and check out the Shattered Obelisk adventure that was the first release between the partnership of Foundry and Dungeons and Dragons, or Wizards of the Coast. This is something that just came out about a week ago. Yeah, January 30th. It's about 10 days ago. The announcement was released that Wizards of the Coast was partnering with Foundry Virtual Tabletop to bring D&D to FoundryVTT. This is exciting news. This is huge because Dungeons and Dragons is the biggest tabletop role-playing game in the world, and bringing it to Foundry is only going to grow Foundry. With this announcement, they released an updated version of the game system that brought an updated version of the 5e rule set to Foundry. In addition, they also released the Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk adventure pack for Foundry Virtual Tabletop. As of the recording of this video, this is the only adventure available, and I'm curious enough that I actually want to check it out. I'm invested enough in Foundry. This will be the first tabletop or virtual tabletop specific adventure that I've purchased. I haven't purchased any for Fantasy Grounds or Roll20 or any other virtual tabletop. And I wanted to kind of just go through this with you guys. We could check it out. This will be a first look. I've never seen this before. And so let's jump in. So far, all I've done is try and find a place to pay for it. And the two reliable ways that I found, or the three reliable ways that I found, are to open up your Foundry Virtual Tabletop and click on this link in the news. It opens up this page, which can also be found on the homepage of Foundry Virtual Tabletop, FoundryVTT.com. And if you scroll down, there is a link to Phandelver, the Shattered Obelisk, that also lets you purchase here. Now, if this is in the future and you are unable to find these news announcements, which is a total possibility just even a few months in the future, if you go to the Foundry VTT website, you click on this drop-down menu, go down to Systems and Modules. I've found that the easiest way to find this content is to scroll down to Premium Content Providers and just find Wizards of the Coast. And then you're going to click on, or under Add-on Modules, click on Phandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk. You can click Purchase here. And this brings you straight to the page to purchase it. I'm going to go ahead and just check out real quick how we get this. I'm assuming we go to our add-on modules. We're going to click Install Module, and I'm just going to do a search. We're going to do Phandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk. I'll click Install. Let's see how long this takes. I'll speed up the video if this takes a little while. It looks like it might. It's not too big of a file, but it's not small either. Certainly the biggest add-on module I've ever downloaded. I don't know how this stacks up against other premium modules. I know that there is a very good Pathfinder 2nd Edition Kingmaker adventure module. I'm very keen to check that out at some point, but I currently don't play Pathfinder. So we'll have to see. And I don't know exactly how this works, so I'm just going to take my best guess at it. I'm going to create a new world. I'm going to call this the Shattered Obelisk. Game system, of course, will be D&D 5th edition. Not going to worry about the background image. I'm going to make my join page minimal. That's just my personal preference. And we'll create the world, and we'll launch. Go ahead and log in as Game Master. Clear these messages. And then I guess the first step would be to activate that module. Save settings, let it reload. Oh, here we go. So it's an automatic pop-up asking us to import the adventure. Here's a quick overview. So we have a quick summary. Journey to the beloved town of Phandelver, where a malevolent cult threatens to overtake the region. Together with your party, solve mysteries and stamp out growing corruption as you uncover more about the peculiar happenings plaguing the town. Discover what lurks below in this high fantasy adventure that begins with the familiar story of lost mine of Phandelver and then delves into the perilous Underdark. That sounds exciting. I have played the Lost Mine of Phandelver. That's a ton of fun. Great starter set. Great intro adventure for new players to D&D. We can see what this includes. Over 50 journal entries. 159 unique portraits. 73 pieces of environmental and narrative artwork. Backgrounds. Scenes, and then dynamic tokens, which is something I'm interested to see. And then we got a few options. So we have activate initial scene, display the getting started journal, and then customize world details. I'm going to leave it as default for now. Oh, and here's a list of contents as well. 163 actors, 252 items, 59 journal entries, 35 scenes, 12 rollable tables, 9 macros, and 70 folders. And if you run into a bug, you can submit it with this link. So let's go ahead and click import. We'll let the magic happen. All right, that wasn't too bad. It took about 5 or so seconds in real time. And it opened up this welcome journal. And we can see we've got a map of the Sword Coast, I believe this is. Fair warning, I'm not the most familiar with D&D lore, but I believe this is a map of the Sword Coast, and we can see, sorry, I'm trying to, you know what, okay. I just want to make sure, okay. Can't reopen this. Oh, here we go. Welcome to Phandelver. Cool, so I can reopen that. Just want to make sure I can before I close it. So we can see we have a map of the Sword Coast here. I believe that's what this is. We have the city of Neverwinter, Thunder Tree to the east of that, Mount Hotnow up north, Old Owl Well and Coneyberry, and Icespire Peak. You'll recognize those if you've played some of the D&D starter sets. Icespire Peak, specifically one of them, and then I believe the Lost Mine of Phandelver includes Old Owl Well and Coneyberry. And then down here you'll see Phandelver, the town, and then Lyalon. We've got the Crypt Garden Forest, Mare of the Dead Men, Neverwinter Wood, the crags up here, and Star Meadow Hills. Very nice. I believe, from what I remember, this looks pretty much like the map that comes in the Lost Mine of Phandelver starter set. But it's a nice map. It's a good map. So I'm going to reopen that bit of that journal entry. Welcome to Phandelver. And this is nice. I'll admit, it seems nice and organized. We've got a great starter, or great photo here. We could take this and we could set this as our background for our game. If we wanted to, for the login screen, we can show it to our players. Certainly provokes, you know, an interest in myself. Wondering what these goblins are doing, carrying the stones. This one has some loot. This one's carving. Oh, just a little stick figure into the stones. This one seems to be, you know, something's happening to him because of the stone he's carrying. Very, very interesting. And if we go ahead and just real quick skip through this, we've got a very big table of contents for the different parts of this adventure. Very nice. About this book, running the adventure, character creation. Okay, talks about backgrounds and hooks tied to them. That's pretty useful if you struggle with finding a reason for your character to exist within this world or partake in this adventure. We've got an introduction to the town of Phandelver with some gorgeous artwork. Oops. Very nice. A little bit of info. I won't cover everything. I don't have the time, nor do I want to spoil everything if you're a player that'll be playing this. A bit of a about section goes over the adventure. The first seems like seems like this adventure, yeah, is split into two halves. A Lost Mine, which would be Lost Mine of Phandelver with a few changes, and then the Obelisk section. Very nice. Some cool little artwork of the Cragmaw goblins. We keep scrolling down. I mean, this is amazing artwork in my opinion. Looks so cool. I'm sure this is all present in the official adventure for the Shattered Obelisk. I personally haven't had the chance to look at that, so this is my first time experiencing that as well. And so far I'm enjoying myself. Some advice on running the adventure, using the maps, non-deadly resolutions, so you know your players talking their way out of situations or anything like that. Character creation, which is big for new players. I personally really struggle with character creation in any role-playing game that I try. It's happened in D&D and Traveler, and I am confident that it will happen in pretty much any role-playing game that I try. It's just something that I personally struggle with, so any kind of character creation help will be a big help for me. Some adventure hooks, you know, if you have trouble giving your party a reason to participate. And then some far realm influence, whatever this is. This looks pretty nuts, I'm not gonna lie. Very nice. Very cool. Just some great artwork. Nice. Let's take a second. Look through a couple of different chapters. I'll just stick to the beginning ones, and maybe we'll jump to like chapter 6 or 7. But we'll start with chapter 1. See if it starts. Yes. Seems like it starts the same as the Lost Mine of Phandelver. And for those of you who don't know, the Lost Mine of Phandelver basically starts with a goblin ambush. Your players or their characters have been hired by a certain dwarven gentleman who may or may not be in this. Yes, Gundren Rockseeker. He has hired your party to deliver a set of goods to the town of Phandelver. And along the way, they encounter a goblin ambush that could potentially lead them through a trail to the Cragmaw hideout, where they will encounter some more goblins and defeat or deal with a boss named Clarg. That's a basic rundown of the very beginning of the Lost Mine of Phandelver. And it seems like we've got, you know, information covering all of that, which would be in the adventure, with links, which is very nice. Okay, so looks like we've got a cool little feature here. We can select an actor and request a role. Let's go ahead and just see if this works for us. It may not, because I am the GM. Let's take a look. Let's drag this out here. I'll select that. There we go. So I can ask for a role. What's target? Yeah, so you can click on a character, request a role. And I'm assuming that if this token is player owned, it will request a role from that player. Which actually, why not? Let's test it. So let's go ahead and user management. Let's create a player, no password. And May not be able to do this easily. What I'll do is I'll pop up a little window to show what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and connect to that. You know what, we'll just do this. So log in as player 2. So we have a player 2. Hopping back to my GM, I'm going to configure ownership so that A is owned by player 2. I will reopen that journal entry. Go back to where I found. Here we go. And I'm going to delete this token just so I have a fresh token. I'll drag A back on. I'll select it. Hit the request. Oh, save configuration. Suppose this doesn't work. It lets me roll it, but it doesn't let me pose a question. Okay, that's okay. That's something to explore. This is certainly something that has been included. I just have to figure out how it works. But as you can see, we've got a ton of links, as well as a link to the restrained condition, so you can read up on restrained right here. And I would assume that all of these journal entries are all hot linked in that way. Very nice. So all these journal entries seem to cover each chapter of this adventure, from chapter 1 all the way up through chapter 6, which seems to be going to some pretty badass locations, I won't lie. Talks about character advancement, the different sections of this journal, and then within each chapter there's also the art handouts, which are, man, the art for this is frankly great. I love this art. It looks so good. And that's a bit of a spoiler. I apologize. I'll try and warn you guys before that pops up, but there's a bit of a mind flare, which I assume involves, you know, the baddies in this adventure. I don't know for certain, but that makes sense to me. This is a quick rundown of the journals. Let's see what else we have. We have some items. We have some set between chapters. We've got some containers. Remade too. So Clark's treasure chest from the Cragmaw hideout has a potion of healing and a jade statuette. We click on the jade statuette. There's a quick description. It's loot worth 40 gold. Very nice and easy. And oh, we can even see this currency here: 150 silver, 1700 copper. Very nice. Got a barrel of oil, 50 oil flasks. And then outside of the containers, we have a cask of salted pork with a description. Very, very cool. And I assume, you know, as we go on, we'll get some more items. So the spider staff. And I assume that this is something that you can just drag onto a player. Yeah, there you go. Drag it right onto the player. Very nice. Well made. I approve of this. Actors, so I'll go ahead and delete our test actor. We've got a link of a folder for Phandelver and Below. Again, split up by chapters. And then within those chapters are the different creatures that your characters may encounter. Take a look. There's a party thing where you can, which is a group you can add party members to. Let me see if, so we'll do A, B, and C. Let's see if we can add these to the group. So A, B, and C. So we've got a list of hit points here. Controls, inventory, description. We can give it to all of them. We can aggregate hit points. We can award experience points. We can give them all 100 XP. and gold. Okay, very nice. You can select who gets it. So we'll say 100 XP and 100 gold. Quick award. Resets down to 0, and if we open up any of them, we've got... Okay, I see it's split up. So 100 XP divided between the number of party members, so 33 each. And then I'm assuming the gold would also be divided. Or not. Perhaps that doesn't work quite yet. Doesn't seem like any of them got the gold. Let's try this again. So let's award 100 gold pieces. Let's just do it to A, see if that makes a difference. No, that's all right. Maybe it's a bug, needs to be improved. But regardless, pretty cool to have a party interface where you can reward all of your players and split that XP evenly. Possibly give them access to a pool of loot that they can pick and choose from. Very, very nice. And as well as it seems like we have some creatures that may be encountered. So we've got Clark here, as well as all of his information. Drag him out, zoom in on him. Very nicely detailed portrait token. There's a wolf next to him. Sildar Hallwinter. Very cool. And for those of you who played Lost Mine of Phandelver, you'll run into the Nothic, Glassstaff, as well as, if they go to the right place, even Venom Fang, which I believe is a young green dragon. Very nice, very cool. There's a nice list, different tokens available. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a lot. And finally, we can jump over to the Scenes tab. Again, separated by folders and chapters. Ooh, this is nice. We've actually got a map of the Goblin Ambush. Very cool. This is something that I've actually wanted ever since I first played the Lost Mine of Phandelver starter set. We got the 2 horses. I believe these are supposed to be dead. We've got that Phandalian region map. Let's see if I can just view. There we go. We've got Cragmaw Hideout, which nice, has a campfire located there. I believe we'll have, yes, all the walls in place. Very nice. So your fog of war and token vision should work properly, as well as some journal notes that you can link to. Double click will open that up for you. Just information on every section in here. Clark's Cave. Really amazing art. All the information about that. All the sleeping goblins over here. With Sildar Hallwinter. Very, very nice. We'll go ahead and open up one more chapter. We'll just do the red bands. And then also Phandalian Village. Oh, there's a nice trap section there. All the torches are lit, so the lighting is done properly. All the walls are, of course, set up. We've got the Nothic. We should have the Nothic around here. Those are goblins. I believe the Nothic. There it is. The Nothic's right there. Very nice. I think this is where we first encountered Glassstaff. Yeah. The Evil Mage. And of course we have Phandalian Village. I'll try and only cover the Lost Mine of Phandelver section of this adventure because that's the oldest. I do wish that this town had some sort of legend or Oh, never mind. There is some journal notes set up for every little section. Let's see, we've got Sister Garalay's home, the Shrine of Luck, Town Green, Eatermath Orchard, Barthen's home, the Sleeping Giant Inn, Arbin Western's home, Townmaster's Hall, Woodworker, all the different locations, Alderley Farm, Holly's home, Old Miner's Trail, up here, Tribor Trail, Trisendar Manor. Very, very nice, very thorough, which I appreciate. And I assume the same would be true for all of the other parts of the adventure. Wave Echo Cave, which is of course a massive dungeon, fully walled out for you with the journal notes all set up and ready to go. Very, very nice. I want to be clear, I don't think that this is any better, any more well made than any other version on another virtual tabletop. I think the benefits of this are going to come with it existing on Foundry, because we get access to the modules that Foundry gets access to, such as that dice tray, Dice So Nice. So when you roll dice, they actually roll out onto your canvas, which I know exists in other things, but there are other modules that will expand upon and enrich this adventure. And that's something that is unique to Foundry that I love. So let's go ahead and hop back. I want to open up the region map. We'll just keep that open. Very, very nice content here. Seems like the combat's the same, chat's the same. Last thing I guess we could look at are the rollable tables. I think I've touched on everything. There are no playlists, no card stacks. The compendium packs, we just have the SRD for 5th edition, and the ones that came with the Phandelver and Below Shattered Obelisk. Looking at the rollable tables, this is not something that I really mess with a whole lot, but we've got a travel table, which we can roll on if we want to. Drag it down to our macro bar, and if we press 1, roll on it, roll the 3, a Cragmaw Goblin Band of 2d4 goblins led by a goblin boss. We click on that, roll 2d4, so 5 goblins. A Cragmaw Goblin Band of 5 goblins led by a goblin boss. And I can click on goblins and goblin boss, open up their respective sheets. Eventually, I believe in the works is a sheet for NPCs. So currently this looks very similar to the default or the old school D&D game system sheet for players. I believe they are currently in the works of making a card version of this that is more similar to what you encounter when you read official D&D content. But I can keep those open, and I could even, I believe, yeah, I can click and drag from that out onto the canvas. Very nice. So yeah, all in all, this is nice. This is something that I hope to play. I'm excited for it. Again, I don't think it's any better. I don't think it's done better than any other tabletop version. I think the part where this will shine is when people start to figure out what modules really work well with this adventure. And again, the module system is something that is not really replicated well anywhere else. Foundry does it very well right now, and there's a huge following of people that love D&D and are willing to mod for it. and they will create some amazing content for this. Overall, I think I would recommend this, especially if you have the money. You know, it is $30. It's not crazy expensive, but it's not cheap. It certainly seems like it gives you a nice big adventure that is well filled out and has everything you need to run it. I believe I touched on even the scenes have, yes, pre-placed tokens, which is nice. So the idea behind these adventures on all virtual tabletops is that you pay the money and you have a 100% ready to run adventure. All your scenes are set up, your walls are in place, your tokens are in place. All you have to do is bring in your players, and they've accomplished that. That's kind of the minimum, of course. It's nothing to really praise, but it's also nothing to scoff at. We have to see what, you know, the people who work, the community behind this builds upon this with. And that will tell us how much better this may or may not be when compared to other versions of this adventure. So, I guess thanks for checking it out. There isn't much more to look at. Maybe in the future I'll do some videos highlighting some modules or add-ons that I think would work great for this adventure. And maybe in the far future I'd be able to play this. I know most of my channel is currently covering Traveler, and that's something that I still want to play, and I'm still focused on playing. But I wanted to cover this because this is awesome news for Foundry. It's big, and it helps grow the community and empower the people using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Thanks so much for checking it out. I hope you guys stick around. I'll see you next time.